Is that how it works?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh yeah.
When you read enough books, it turns you to like an NPC, like the government's like fucking putting their little fingers in your brain.
What if I read 1984? Is even 1984 like a psyop?
Yeah, honestly.
Damn, dude. So it's really like pro-government propaganda.
Well, no, 1984 is okay because it's a story, right?
Yeah.
But when you read all these books about other dudes like telling you like advice and stuff, and then you form your whole life around like all of these cucks' opinions.
Okay.
It's like, bro, you just gotta read the Bible and listen to God.
Okay.
This guy that's selling a book.
Guess
you can do both,
Dude,
dude.
the Bible, everything that's said in the Bible it's a self-help book in many ways, but basically every book that we read, or most of them, is just like, hey man, be positive. Think positive.
It's just a
What's
waste
wrong
of
with
time.
thinking positive?
It's like,
oh, fucking-
wake up early. And,
Nah, there's none of that.
And exercise. I'm like, nah, bro. Let's fucking do mushrooms and watch anime.
You guys have just a younger.
You should write a book, dude.
Yeah, that would be my book.
Guys, you just have a younger mentality. If like as soon as you get a little older and one day you're gonna have like a little bit of a health scare, and then you can
get
be like,
that
oh
old people
damn,
brain."
I actually want to live a little longer.
Yeah, dude. Be like me, dude. Drink till 6:30 a.m. and then sleep till 2.
But you have
my
like cool
God.
people, right? They're cool, and then they read some books, and then they become gay. Mm-hmm. And it's
No,
like, bro,
you
you
wanna
were so
become
cool, and now
successful.
you want to like go home.
It's just
What?
Look,
We got
Are you doing
party,
a bit
bro.
right now? I
he
mean,
is, obviously.
The stupidity coming from this side of the couch. Okay, he's doing a bit. Yeah. I disagree adamantly. And Dino, I think it would be helpful for you to read a book. Something
So
on
that's exactly what someone who reads books would say.
something. Maybe just pick up a Gentleman's Quarterly. And not that I'm a fashion guru, but I think you should get a new pair of shoes.
Like,
I
I don't
get
want to turn
compliments all
myself
the
into an
time.
amalgamation of a bunch of other people's thoughts. Where you can just not read books and
Yeah,
stay
sure.
true to
Okay.
yourself.
Just let the fucking marijuana induced thoughts creep in and let those tell you how to live
4chan
life.
thoughts, or those are good ones. No, you know why I've been asking you? That's why I always think about you when I'm at like fucking Ross or some shit, 'cause I could pick up some shoes for your fucking broke ass, but you can't even tell me your mother fucking size. You jerk off.
You're right. He wears like an 11. You're right, Leo.
Look, man.
It's got to be an 11. I can tell that it's an inch too big.
How often do you jerk off these days, do you know?
Like, what? You're gay. Why are you trying to?
Continue answering. You were almost
Anyways,
going to.
It's kind
Books.
of we're like your
A
psychiatrist.
book will never tell you that like porn is for cucks and shit like that. It'll only tell you
Yes, it
that
does,
porn
actually.
is like good for you or some bullshit.
Nah.
I don't think it'll say
because
that.
that's
Nah.
just what
Think and
books
Grow
are these
Rich,
days,
literally
man.
Think and Grow
True,
Rich, it kind of basically says that porn is for cucks.
It doesn't say that.
Kind of.
Yeah, but so, Dino,
But I have like
It says misuse
I'm
of
on
your
like
sexual
another
energy can
level.
ruin your
like,
life.
If I read a book, it would take me from like the fourth dimension like to the third dimension. Like it would downgrade me, like because I'm already past their way of thinking. If anything, I should write a book and they should read my shit.
Dude, it's, like, it's hard to get these ideas across with these guys, man. They really are just the new generation where it's like team no book, dude. You know what I mean? Like Saltine was so upset that I told him to go to college the other day, man. Like these guys are just like they don't get it. They don't get it. Even reading just about facts or history, so you don't like repeat. History doesn't repeat itself if you kind of learn about
Because
it.
history is just some made up bullshit that they
It's the
fucking
winners.
Dude, yeah, it's
the
some made up
winners.
bullshit the government's teaching you. So they're like, oh, this shit's gonna repeat. Whenever it's some bullshit they made up anyway. How do you even know what the
they
real
make up
history
that
is?
custard
I
just
feel-
smoked
See,
a bunch
I would
of
rather
Indians.
feel so
learn
dumb
through
right now.
I know it's
example
tough,
from
bro.
books, like stories, like fictional stories. If you read something and then the characters make you learn something about the world or about yourself, and then you can put that into practice.
Mm-hmm.
But I just don't like the books that will just like, this is how you should think. This is the message. This is what you should understand.
what's the last book you read, Austin, that said this is how you should think? That's
all
right.
of those
Well,
books,
every
like
book
Think and
tells you
Grow
how to
Rich,
think. It's-
and
they all
Think
need
and Grow
the
Rich
art.
is just it's not about like it's literally just about being positive, and it's like a formula that's worked forever.
It's Think
You
and Grow
know?
Rich. Also, Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill like constantly cites the Bible and loves the Bible, so it's not at odds with the Bible.
No, not at all,
But
yeah.
I feel like this conversation is just. I mean, obviously, saying you shouldn't read books is stupid. So I don't even know why we're debating this.
I'm
Just
just
like,
saying
how can you-
self-help books.
How
I
can you
think
trust?
aren't necessarily the best.
Austin, if you had built a very successful real estate company and you had an opinion on this, like there was a part in your life where you were reading a lot of self-help books and a part in your life where you weren't, maybe I would take it seriously. But right now, this is you saying that self-help book sucks is like me saying that MAGA or manga sucks. Either one.
Yeah.
Manga, that's
We
the
don't
fucking...
know. No,
like
you don't.
the-
You don't. We don't
Yeah,
know.
it's like me saying manga
You're
sucks.
too young. Yeah. You need to.
But, like-
you
But
need
manga
to-
does suck.
How are you going to trust a rich person telling a bunch of plebeians how to get rich? Obviously, they're going to teach you the wrong shit, so you stay poor.
it's just hard to
and
do.
then they and their family stays rich.
That's how hard it is to do. It's difficult because you have to say no to all the fun stuff that you guys don't say no to. That
I just think
don't
that
say
a
no
lot
to.
of
Let me
people,
just say this.
they feel like they need somebody to tell them something they already know. Like, oh, don't fucking do drugs
You
all
don't
the time.
always know that.
Wake
There's
up in
no
the morning,
book that says
clean
don't do
your
drugs
room.
all the time.
It's like all of the books are just telling you basic life advice you would hear from your dad. And then it's like, oh, I really needed this to refresh me and remind me. The reason you're lazy and a piece of shit, it's like I already know all the things that I need to do to improve my life. I'm just not doing them because I'm a piece of shit. And
right.
reading a
Well,
book,
there's some honesty there.
and some guy telling me a bunch of stuff that I already know I need to change about my life is not going to magically change my life. If anything, it's just going to make me think that I'm all of a sudden smart now.
Well, I disagree vehemently, and it's not just that a guy is going to be like, "Hey, you set that alarm clock a little earlier, tidy up that hair before you go out." You can read a biography or a business book that has the story of how Jeff Bezos founded Amazon, for instance. I read that, The Everything Store, and you learn how a really high-level person operates, and you realize that you are leaving a lot on the table as far as how you conduct yourself throughout the day, and it inspires you a little bit.
Well, I don't have
and
a
you're
problem
a
with
richer person.
biographies.
I mean, I don't read that many like self-help books. Like some fucking guy with veneers and a dyed fucking beard. I don't buy that guy's book. Like, be the best you possible. Though I have read like the David Goggins and stuff. But I mean,
fun,
even
man.
that you could do worse than like a philosophy of success. I mean, I guess yeah, they are sincerely trashing books right now.
I feel like if
don't
you're
like
the type of
books.
person that would put it into practice, you're the type of person that would put those kind of things into practice anyways. I just don't think there's ever really going to be a case where all of a sudden your entire outlook on life has changed and then you're going to start doing better because you read a book.
I disagree.
I think you have to do it through actual
Finding books help
hard
me
work.
turn the change from being kind of like just a floundering restaurant employee to getting the YouTube channel started. Reading a lot and a lot of personal development and self-help books did help actually.
If you listen to a lot of people talk, a lot of people attribute a big change in their life to like them like like an aha moment that they got from a book. I know that you guys don't like
Maybe
these
you should
examples.
watch an anime and get your aha moment from that.
That could be a thing, but
anime is just a better self-help.
that could be a thing, but there is a lot to the knowledge that there's people that before us that did great things that we can learn a little something from them to help us. You know what I mean? Like that's a very simple idea. All right, that's all we're doing. We're trying to get enough of these little nuggets of information to help us get to the next level. We'd like to have the infinity pool in Los Angeles and have those crazy nights all the time that Danny had last night, where he was in an orgy with multiple famous people.
I'm not gonna say I was in the orgy.
Okay, well you were involved.
I was.
You
seeing
could listen.
stuff.
You were listening through the wall, something, dude. But all I'm saying is, we're on this earth right now, man. Why not try to be fucking great, dude? That's all we're trying to do by like looking at these books and learning from them.
Only
we're trying
book
to
I
be
got
great.
time for is like some fucking green eggs and ham or like one fish, two fish.
What about the Bible? Don't you have time for the fucking Bible? Dude?
Yeah, but like that's like the ultimate book, you know.
And there is a section of the Bible that basically people, like you've said it before, Austin, it basically says like you should get wealthy, man, or it kind of says that.
Which book is that, Leah?
I don't know, but I heard fucking somebody say it one time. I think it was
What does
Tony
the Bible
Robbins.
say about wealth?
I think, you should get wealthy.
There are parables in the Gospels. There are some parables that seem like Jesus is saying, "Go get rich," but then he also says it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. But he does.
That's just because rich people are arrogant and they don't want to like seek God because they think they have everything already.
It is a little harsh though,
try
because
to
a camel
become
can't go through a
wealthy,
needle.
Right? But you should also
Where in
be
the Bible does it say that,
charitable.
though? Where in the Bible does it say you should try to become wealthy? I'm not saying it doesn't. There are some parables that seem to hint, like the parable, I forget what it's called, but a master leaves his 3 servants with a certain amount of gold. one multiplies it tenfold, one multiplies it fivefold.
That's the one.
And then one just buries it in a hole in the ground and doesn't multiply it, and the master punishes him severely.
That's the one, dude. Didn't Tony Robbins say that?
I maybe, but I haven't read all of the Old Testament, so I don't know what it says about wealth.
It's just as long as you're making your money through means that aren't sinful or unethical, and then
but where does it say that? Where does it say that though? You're
money,
giving me like a general impression, but where does it say that? Like, which part of the Old Testament or the New Testament say like go forth and be wealthy, make money, have a strong household, have many children?
I couldn't tell you like the exact quote, but the Bible does say that you should be a productive member of society and try to provide for like your family and people close to you. And then if you have more than your needs, then to give to charity and stuff. So like,
doesn't Jesus say sell all your possessions and just give them to the poor? Jesus was pretty communistic in some ways.
I don't think it's all your possessions. Whenever you say like wealthy, it makes me think of like the one where it's like I've stored up all this grain and I'm gonna just eat it for like 3 years and do nothing, and then like God kills him and then gives his food to the poor.
You guys should be preachers.
Because like you should be charitable with your stuff.
At
You
a
shouldn't just like
snake
hog it
charming
all to
church.
yourself.
Dude, Dino could be a snake charming church fucking pastor, bro.
Dino, oh my God, he'd use that fucking big cock of his, dude.
The snake would
but
bite
yeah,
back.
like if you have a bunch of money and you don't do anything productive with it and you're not helping people, then that's bad. But if you do and you have a means of making a lot of money, then you have a means of being able to help a lot of people.
Yeah, I agree. That's totally logical to me. I completely agree with that.
You can help way more people if you have the means. Yeah, of
But
course.
Jesus, a lot of the stuff he says is sort of contrary to that. Like he rebukes a lot of wealthy people for being wealthy and not giving away their possessions to the poor. And it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle. Well, that's impossible. So Jesus sort of makes it sound like if you're rich, you're going to fucking hell. And that is, yeah.
Well, he was just criticizing rich people in general for
I
just
hope
being
so.
pieces of shit.
Yeah, I hope so. Because I agree.
happens.
Remember, he flips all the tax collectors' tables over because they were collecting taxes inside the church, and that
Yeah.
pissed him off. And tax collectors were like scumbags because they would always lie on the books and take more money from you.
Yeah, fuck tax collectors. No, I'm so with you. I think if you are rich, I mean, I'm a fucking capitalist, dude. Like, who does more for society than a business owner who gives a bunch of people jobs, whose tax revenues support all these social programs in the state? There's nothing more righteous to me than being like a business owner economically. Because if you are a single mother who's surviving off government assistance and you're shitting out kids who are going to go be criminals, you are unequivocally doing a wrong to society. And that's half the country doesn't pay taxes. We looked this up yesterday. 63% of America can't afford a $500 emergency.
Yeah, so how are they going to afford taxes, you know? You think Rat Dick pays taxes?
No.
I mean, people's rent is basically catching up to how much they make a month. Like it's
Yeah, and it just
Yeah.
it sucks and it's sad and the system's fucked up in a lot of ways. But one should take no pride in just eking out an existence because it doesn't help anybody.
So you must try to get wealthy, Dino, so that you could help people. I don't know what you could do. You can go to Africa and give them iPads so they could watch anime. All right, you can give Africans
That'd be a good
iPads.
deed.
Yeah,
And like when I don't know, the rich like what is rich? You know, like it just depends. Like the wealthiest people in the world are doing like fucked up shit to get that money a lot of the time.
No, they're not. Who? Which?
I mean, they're like people making laws in Congress, like screwing over small businesses.
Yeah,
and,
politicians are fucking scumbags.
like the people
dude. I'm
at
with
the
you there.
top, at the very, very top, are doing some shit to stay at the top. It's just how it is.
No,
yeah,
not
Chinese
necessarily.
slave labor.
Okay,
a
that's-
lot of
so we're
American
going- we're going
corporations-
right to the-
What do you mean?
Chinese
There's
slave
fucking
labor.
nothing bad ever.
Is that what I said? I said nothing bad
I
ever
mean, the
happens.
people with the most money have the most capability to do the worst shit.
Okay, so we're now saying the rich are evil.
I mean, in a sense, like the richest people in the world kind of are evil.
But you sound right now. You sound like Elizabeth Warren saying like billionaires shouldn't exist. Like
is this
eat the rich.
AOC? Are you
Well, it's because
AOC?
billionaires kind of agree with you. But I mean, agree with that statement because, like, when you become really, really rich, 90% of the stuff that they're doing with their time is just trying to prevent other people from competing against them and becoming rich. Also,
That I disagree with that. Like think about that. If you are some companies like fucking whatever Meta and Facebook they'll buy a fucking little startup that's coming up that's going to compete with them and just like crush it to the cradle. But somebody like Elon Musk right now, and I know I talk a lot about him because I just read his book, but his day-to-day tasks you're saying are just based on suppressing people and keeping people from getting rich? No. The way to be successful and to make money for his stockholders is he's got to progress. He's got the largest private space company, the largest space company, the most successful space company that exists right now. He puts more astronauts on the space station, sends more cargo up to the space stations than anybody else, deploys satellites for NASA. His cars are single-handedly fucking leading the EV revolution, which is going to, if you're into the environmental justice shit, they're going to fucking lead the charge on that.
Slave labor for all the lithium mines and shit.
Is it slave labor? I don't know how he's sourcing his lithium. Is it slave labor, in fact?
It's like, oh, well, I paid this guy to hire people, and then he enslaved people.
Well, let me say this.
Not me.
I doubt maybe the people who are actually enslaved, but you have to also think that the people mining the lithium in Africa or wherever they're mining the lithium, their alternative to mining lithium for 2 pennies a day would be to be like child prostitutes or to just starve. So most people... obviously, there are terrible exceptions like the Uyghurs in China that are actually slaves, but a lot of underdeveloped countries, those opportunities to work for American companies are the best economic opportunity they have.
I feel like that's the best
economic opportunity they have, but that's the whole point, right? So like you have these people advocating, oh, well, America needs a $17 minimum wage or whatever. I'm a big wealthy libtard. And then they go and they pay people in another country $2 an hour for the same thing. It's like, well, if you want to have minimum wage for people here, then pay the foreigners the same amount of money that you would expect an American person to be paid. But really, they're just virtue signaling and then doing horrible things in other countries, taking advantage of these people. Yeah, maybe they're giving them a little bit more than what they would expect to get in their country.
But now you're talking about politicians. I'm
talking like all of these companies. Like nobody makes any of their stuff in America.
Elon
it's all
does.
Made in other countries.
Doesn't Elon make shit in here?
Some stuff, but he also has factories in China. He's got factories in China.
The mines where they get the lithium, they're supposed to be mined by like big machines and stuff, and it's just a bunch of children digging with their bare hands in dirt.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
getting poisoned. And dying.
So what's the alternative? So anybody who starts a company should insist that their overseas labor is paid $17 an hour?
I think we basically need to stop overseas labor as much as we possibly can. Bring jobs back to America, and then stop, because it's sort of just. But
then we won't be competitive.
Scheme.
But then we won't be competitive. Then how would we beat a Chinese auto startup?
The cars would be like fucking $250,000.
Nobody built.
We restrict the ability to buy stuff from our competitors and stuff and keep things more.
I mean, that sounds like a recipe for America not being competitive globally and for our stock market to fucking collapse and for us to get invaded.
Well,
shit's dark, dude. If we just give up our global competitiveness, then basically China is fucking going to dominate us economically and eventually militarily.
We make all of our stuff in China using their cheap labor.
Yeah, we're giving them money.
Yeah, but if we stop making anything that we make competitively, and our cars, as Leo say, cost $250,000, a laptop computer costs $7,000, that's going to reverberate through the economy.
Well, then everyone else will start making more money because they have to pay us and like give us jobs instead of people in other countries.
But that's why everything's going to shit, because it's a system that's built on stuff that doesn't actually work. Like it's all built on inflation or on cheap labor that's cheaper than what it should actually be, and everything is like costs less in America than it would actually need to be cost, like realistically. And then over the long term, it's just going to collapse because you can't keep supporting this thing that is on life support, basically using cheap labor and inflation. Like our entire economy is on life support. It's like a Ponzi scheme.
We covered a lot of stuff there. Wow. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Inflation's a big problem. I just, I think saying that we should just make everything in America and pay everybody a lot of money is like saying that we should just make millionaires pay $250,000 for their houses.
Well, I'm thinking we should work towards that, but I'm also saying it's like these really, really rich people, if you're going to be really, really rich and you run one of these companies, if you're participating in the system, you're probably doing a lot of horrible things to a lot of people.
Yeah, which is the point of what we were talking about.
Rich people are horrible.
Yeah, because if like you're at the top, you're doing some bad shit. It's just how it is.
And then most of the super wealthy in America don't actually do anything productive at all. They just move money back and forth.
Like who?
Like all of the financial people. Like once you make a certain amount of money, you kind of just let your money make money,
Your assets.
trading and stuff like that. The stock market in itself is like, it helps some businesses somewhat or whatever, but a lot of people are just making money, really not producing anything.
You know, talk to Fed, dude. Fed's
He
in there,
agrees with
just
me.
calls and shorts and puts and fucking, yeah, dude, he's a plunderer. He's a baron, dude.
Yeah, he's of the mindset that like, if they're doing it, we got to do it too.
Well, yeah, dude.
I mean, I
That's
think
where you guys should be too, man.
I just think it's a simplistic view of things to say that. I mean, if you are getting shit done, yeah, at that high of a level, you're going to have to come in contact with, like Elon Musk, his autopilot has killed a couple people, more than a couple people. It's killed people. But how many people die in auto accidents every day in America? And eventually, his autopilot's going to be much safer than people actually driving their own cars. Because nowadays, when people drive their cars, they're always texting and looking at titties on Instagram, Leo.
Yeah.
And that's what's causing so many more accidents than autopilot would ever cause. So, yeah, if you're fucking getting shit done in this world, you're going to have to be faced with these dark realities.
Elon's also a good guy, though. Most people are not good people.
He's a hard ass fucking manager. Like he fucking fires people callously. He'll scream at people in meetings, fucking fire them in the elevator, Steve Jobs style. But yeah, man, you can't just be, if you want to just not harm anybody, that's a hard thing to do. Like, I mean, even if you're just in your bed all day jerking off and smoking weed and thinking like, I just do my own thing, I don't bother anybody, you're not supporting the economy. You're not providing jobs like Elon Musk's doing. So, I don't know. I think Dino should come over here and fucking sit on my lap.
It's messed up.
You're providing one job. Austin provides a little bit of a job to Dino, holding the cam, which is being quickly taken over by this tripod.
That's just
over
my
here.
thing is I'm more pro small business as opposed to big corporations. And I think that big corporations, they go out of their way to crush small businesses as much as possible.
Yeah.
And like my dad's company, for example, like all of his competitors in the other states, they're constantly just going up to the government trying to put more regulation to make it harder and harder for someone to make a competing company. They're like, oh, well, for this safety reason, they need to have all of this paperwork, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And it's because they're already approved. So they're already able to condone business. And now they're trying to make it more difficult for anybody else to get into their position.
Sure. Yeah, that's true. It's annoying. Yeah, that's lame. It's a lame use of time.
It's part of being competitive, though, is sometimes doing that kind of stuff, man. I mean, it's just like long term, that's going to end up maybe making you more money, than focusing on the business if it's already kind of perfected. You know what I mean? It's a shame that's how it works. But I mean, if everybody else is going to do it, like Fed is, and like you guys are mentioning, man, we just got to join them, man. You got to join.
I don't think the most successful companies though make it their policy to just squash innovation and stop any kind of upstarts that might challenge them. Like the most successful companies just fucking innovate
It's not
and make
that
a
they're
great product.
squashing innovation. They're just like buying it from.
I mean, look at
the other
BlackRock.
people.
All they do is just buy everything.
But yeah, I mean, BlackRock, I'm not saying BlackRock is like the epitome of a great company. But yeah, no, I feel like most of the companies that do that kind of shit are not like the most successful fucking companies. I don't know though. I mean, I'm not in an industry where like another YouTuber can be like, hey, fucking Google, I'll give you $100,000 to limit Danny Mullen's reach. So that's just not my industry really. So I can't speak on that too intelligently. But no, it definitely happens. I mean, you're right. That's not great.
Well,
I don't
I
like that
mean,
either.
Google
Once
and
YouTube
Apple are super anti-consumer.
Yeah,
You
for
can't
sure.
get your
Or-
iPhone repaired. You can't buy parts for it. You have to buy a special kind of charger that only they provide. They're really just trying to do whatever they can to make money and inconvenience people.
You should move to Bulgaria, Austin. You might like Bulgaria better. I agree, though. I mean, you're right. I mean, you're right. Yeah, there's a lot of bullshit that goes on here, but I mean, it's just like where else are we gonna move?
I know. What do we do, man? Do we got to live off the land and fucking,
You're gonna have to move to Dino Land.
Where's Dino
Wait.
land, dude?
It's gonna be right where Cartel home base is.
And what do we got? We got Wonder Bread, peanut butter, weed. We got mangas,
The
We're
same
gonna have
pair of
some-
shoes for 2 years.
Fucking
ground
Lucky
beef,
Charms.
some Lucky Charms. Nice.
Dino milk. Well,